If running a marathon sounds too daunting, here's some good news. The 1 mile race is making a comeback. Here to tell us why is WSJ sports reporter Kevin Helliker, and joining us from Boulder, Colorado, running enthusiast Todd Straka. Thanks to you both for joining us.
Thank you
for having us.
All right, Kevin, I want to start with you. Why are Americans suddenly growing more interested in the 1 mile race?
Well, it's certainly a lot less time consuming than a marathon, and it's actually been shown recently to have tremendous health benefits. There's new research showing that short bursts of intense exercise can produce in half an hour the same benefits that an hour and a half or 2 hours of endurance exercise produces. And then also, there was just a study last month showing that people who run an hour or less, or about an hour a week, have the same mortality benefits as those who run more than 3 hours a week. So why do all that running when you can do less? And the mile just provides a really great challenge.
Yeah, that definitely some encouraging health benefits there. Todd, I want to go to you because you've run all different kinds of races, but this summer you hit your fastest ever mile time. Tell me about that experience and kind of how it stacks up to doing something like a marathon.
Sure. So actually, I ran that mile off of a 10K race that I was training for in the springtime. I wasn't training specifically for the mile, but it kind of just worked out as far as the timing goes. And the mile is a great distance just because it is kind of like running a 5K or 10K or marathon, but just kind of all scrunched up into a shorter distance. So you still have all those emotions that go along with it. But as Kevin mentioned, you don't have to train as long or as hard for them.
Yeah, Todd, is it easier to get your friends to come out and cheer for you too? I imagine 1 mile instead of 26.2.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a little bit more willing to sit through a few minutes as opposed to a few hours.
So, Kevin, did you talk to people who are abandoning their marathon running in favor of doing the 1 mile, or is it just, running fanatics adding more races into their regimen?
There's a little bit of both. There's a tremendous number of children who are running their first races, and they're even discovering that kindergartners can run a mile.
You wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think that you could just send your kindergartner running for a mile.
And there's an organization who's really promoting this, who says that PE teachers don't realize that kindergartners can run a mile. And then they also, in the same way that little kids will go in the backyard and pretend to be Hank Aaron or Derek Jeter, there are all these heroes that are associated with the mile. So the mile, unlike the 5K or the 10K, the mile is the distance. It was once America's most popular distance. The mile is the distance that has a lot of heroes attached to it, so kids can kind of dream.
All right, Todd, after your exhilarating mile experience, what do you think? Are you going to go back to running marathons? Are you going to stick with 1 mile?
For now, I'm going to focus on the mile. And that doesn't mean that I won't run a 5K or 10K coming up, but I don't see a marathon, at least this year, in my future. I'd like to focus on the shorter thing.
All right, the choice is pretty clear to me. I don't think I would ever survive a marathon. I think the 1 mile is my race. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.